So now we just want to play with these levels a little bit and learn a little bit about their properties and behavior. First thing I notice is that over here this one's off a little bit. You pick on there once, you can pick on this grip and you click and hold it and slide and then click out. To pan, once again with your middle mouse, press your middle mouse button and then you're able to slide if it's close enough. So with your middle mouse you can zoom and you can slide by pressing it in. Okay, so these guys look like they're okay. If you pick on here and you take the check mark off, it just gets rid of the bubble. For some reason you might want it at the other end over here, you can pick on here and turn it on over here. So either way you can turn on the bubble on each side. Okay, whether it's on or not, you're going to see this little white circle. Okay, and it's going to say 3D. It's going to give you some temporary dimensions if you don't have dimensions in there. But when you pick on here, there's a couple of different things around here. There's the check mark, there's the lock, and there's the 3D button. Okay, so the lock will unlock it so that when you drag it, it doesn't drag the other level lines. Okay, if you pick on a level line and it's locked and aligned with this blue line, what it means is if you drag that, it'll drag the other ones with it. So if you want to drag it without the other ones, you can do this. If you take a level line and you drag it to another one, it'll automatically go snap to it and then align. Okay, so if you don't want it, you have to go back and uncheck it. So I can take all of these two are still aligned, I can drag these back, click, and now all four of those are aligned again. Okay, last I want to talk about the little 3D button. What the 3D button is, it moves the end of the level line at in both ends of the view. Okay, think of this as a big sheet of paper. Okay, if I slide this, right now I'm looking at the south elevation. Okay, let's go back to our main floor here. Double click on the main floor. Okay, here's our south elevation. Here's our north elevation. There's a big sheet of paper here. When we look at the elevation line, we see the levels kind of stacked. So if I drag that level line and move it in 3D this way, what that means is that my north elevation, it's going to also move. Okay, sometimes you want to drag that level line and slide it in one elevation, but the far elevation, you don't want it to follow it. You want it to be over here. Okay, watch what I'm talking about. If we go back to our south elevation, I'm going to pick on this guy. I'm going to unlock it so I can move it separately. And with the 3D button on, I'm going to pull it out to here. Okay, now watch what happens when I go to my north elevation. Okay, it's way out over here. It doesn't have the check mark on. If I turn it on, I can turn it on like that. But because I stretched it in 3D, just like I'm doing right now, it's going to move it both ends. Okay, if I go back to my south elevation, it's going to be back. Okay, if you pick on a level line and take the 3D off, you can drag it, and you'll notice that it has a solid grip instead of a hollow grip like this one. If it's big and hollow, it's a 3D grip. This one's a 2D guy. So which means that if I go to my opposite elevation or section, you'll see that it didn't get stretched on this side. Okay? Because remember, left is, when you look at the opposite end, left is right and right is left. So if I go again back to here, and I take this guy and I can drag that over to here. Click out. It's still not going to make any difference over here. This guy here isn't listening to it because it's still set to be 3D. Okay, if I set this one to be 2D, I can also move this one individually as well, which is not going to affect this one because I did it with the 2D point. I'm going to grab this dimension, grip it, and pull it back. If I take this guy and I drag, you see where that hollow circle is? That's the 3D button. It remembers it. Click. As soon as I do that, it turns back to be 3D. Go back to here. I can do the same thing. Pick on this side, drag that hollow one to the 3D button, turns it back into 3D. Just to try this again, if I go to this side and I pick on here, now I'm top of main floor on the right hand side of the north elevation, and I leave the 3D on, unlock it so I don't move the other ones. Take this guy and move it in. Okay. Now remember, this is the right hand side of the north elevation. If I go to the south elevation, all of a sudden you'll see that This is pulled in because it's the left-hand side, and that's the 3D button. If I take this and pull it way out to here, it's on the left side here. When I go over to here, it'll be on the right side, and there it is out there because I'm moving the 3D button, and this view is showing the 3D aspect. Okay, so that's just a quick lesson on that. Vertically, if you click on a level, all you have to do is change this number, but you'll notice that if you pick on here, you can also change the number in here. Okay, computation height, 3 feet. Name, you can rename it. And scope boxes we're not going to talk about, but we definitely have lessons on it. So it might be easier for you to change the number in here, or you can go in and change the number here. If you change a number, it'll update. So if you go to here and change this to be 30 feet, boom, you click out, it's going to go to 30 feet. And of course, it's going to go to 30 feet in every view. Okay. If we go to the east and west, it's exactly the same rules apply, right? The levels are there, east and west, looking from the two outsides. So of course it's parametric. If I pick in here and pick back and change this back to be 20 feet, which is, I don't have to say inches. In fact, if I just say feet, it'll go to 20 feet. Okay, we'll talk about entering units in the lesson shortcoming, but so you would go 20 space 10 would do, in fact. So you could say 20 would be 20 feet. If you want 20 feet 4, you go 20 space 4, and then if you want a half, then you go space 1 half. Click out, space in. So, and then it'll add the inches and feet for you. So I'm just going to put that back to 0, click out. So there's my levels, and you can go around to whichever views you want. We'll have to fine tune them once we start to draw our grid lines and see how big our building is. Turn these guys off. So then go back, have a look at your different elevations, clean them up, do a save. And we'll continue to work with these, and you can do this independently. I encourage you to do your own thing along the way, and we'll be able to assess where we want the endpoints here to be once we actually put our grid lines in the floor plan and we know approximately how big the building is.